Good morning, everyone. So this picture actually led to one of the most famous conspiracy theories around, and I'm sure everybody knows about this. And there are really many aspects to this, but there are two things in particular that kind of led to this, this conspiracy theory. The flag is waving in the wind, obviously, and there's no atmosphere on the moon. So that seems a bit suspicious to me, doesn't it? And to many other people. And the other one was, where are the stars in this picture? So obviously the natural conclusion was that it must have been staged on a film set somewhere, obviously. You know, how could we get to the moon? And actually this conspiracy theory was actually, we never went to the moon, was created by the Bill Kaysing's conspiracy theory. And it's one of those things where it's kind of part of human nature to jump to conclusions very quickly and to ignore certain parts of the evidence. So, for example, the evidence here is actually in the flag. There's a crossbar, but the crossbar actually isn't the full width of the flag, so it forces the flag to be creased like this, and it ends up looking like it's flying in the wind. And on here, this was all just to do with the camera shutter speed, because of the bright lights, and that's why you can't see any stars up there. So the explanations are quite clear. But the key thing is, these two bits, this was the evidence that everyone ignored. And it's human nature to kind of jump to an idea really, really quickly and to ignore everything that doesn't support your belief. So, and there are many other examples like this at the moment. This was obviously, people know about this one. And this is a really weird one. You probably got to look this up sometime. Like, what on earth what were they thinking, for goodness sake? So a key contributing factor here is confirmation bias. And actually, this is, again, like I said, this is to do with you start with your crazy idea. I hope this is probably kind of starting to resonate a bit with all you at this point. You come up with a crazy idea, a product team, or the optimization team, or UX team, and then it's all to do with you ignore everything else, and you get fixated with those few facts or those spurious kind of bits of evidence that you cherry pick from different parts that support your idea, right? But it doesn't just affect conspiracy theorists and their followers. This actually is a big problem in experimentation too, in everything that we do, and a lot of people around the room, no doubt. And the confirmation bias we see everywhere is that the team has this idea, they have an idea in the shower, or they go to a brainstorming session, they come up with some fantastic ideas, or what often happens is they see something that looks very cool on someone else's website, normally their direct competitors. And then they look for all the insights and learnings to back up their idea, because they're data-driven, aren't they, of course? And then you A/B test, hopefully the A/B test. So this is what we see everywhere. And an example of this might be full-screen auto-playing video of our product on a product details page. Wow, that would be a really cool idea, wouldn't it? You know, when people come to the product details page, full-screen video. And these are some of the real examples I've heard from clients before. And we're data-driven, so we need to find some data insights to back up our idea. And so here's the first insight. Okay, people who watch the product videos have a conversion rate that is 4 times higher than those that don't. And these insights are everywhere. It's really good data, isn't it? But of course, this is reverse causation in action. They were highly motivated anyway, so of course they're going to root out the videos and find them. And we see this area everywhere, right? It's a clue, it's interesting, but it certainly isn't a conclusion. The other one is 15% commented that videos were most important to them in the survey we carried out. And of course, what about the other 85%? Again, it's cherry-picking the data that supports your belief, that supports your idea. So this is, effectively, it's the same diagram, right? It's a cool idea, they really want to A/B test, and then you just cherry-pick the evidence that supports your belief, which is this confirmation bias. Why do we see this everywhere? Actually, one of the reasons was, what Ellie touched on, was prioritization frameworks is an interesting one. We want to make sure all our ideas are data-driven. So and this is the PXL, one of the famous ones here. So we look at the evidence. It says, oh, we need some user testing, we need some data from there, we need some data from here. The key thing is, in the original prioritization framework, and there's loads of different versions of this now, it did actually say discovered via user testing and discovered via qualitative feedback, etc., and found in analytics, which is a clue to what the solution to this bias is. But of course, so many of the prioritization frameworks out there say supported by data. Actually, there was a screen grab earlier I saw about that, and it says supported. And supported is much easier to bypass, because what happens, you come up with your idea, and say, we need to be supported by data, so I'm going to cherry pick some data to support it. And then you end up with this confirmation bias, which is everywhere at the moment. So the second thing is data is so much more accessible these days. So it's easy to cherry pick. It's easy to go in there and find some data and ignore everything else. So it's a really good thing that it's more accessible, because we want to encourage people to do this. But again, you just got to be a bit careful. The third one is this human condition of jumping to the idea so soon and a bit too quickly. And the last one is just a lack of resource for discovery. When I start working with so many client teams, and they have really great UX teams and UX research teams out there, and data science teams, when I talk to all those teams, very often I find that their whole day is tied up with validating ideas, or basically looking for data to support the product team's ideas which they've already come up with. They'd have no time for going out and doing discovery research, and if you do product discovery research, what that really means is that you haven't decided on the idea yet. You're looking, you're discovering, you're uncovering opportunities. And the best opportunities and the best ideas will bubble up to the top. That's what you want, and then you address them. This is so important, and this is fundamental why, to be honest, so many programs are struggling. And so the consequences are teams miss out on so many potentially impactful discoveries out there. They'll be fixated with one area because it's the fun area to focus on, and they'll be missing massive opportunities at other parts of the journey because they haven't been doing their discovery research along the whole user journey. So they're not really discovering anything new. They're chasing their own tails all the time, or they're chasing their own ideas, and they're just copying their competitors. And we see this all the time. People are fixated on their competitors and just copying features from them, and everybody's copying someone else's A/B test probably, which probably isn't even working anyway. So we end up with very low success rates. I just put a few of the ones from the ones out there actually here. But generally speaking, we have very low success rates, I believe. For a start, it's hard to predict human behavior, so it's always quite tricky, this area. But secondly, unless we really discover and uncover the biggest opportunities, no wonder we're not coming up with great solutions. So to help raise awareness of this bias, actually, and this is a real passion of mine at the moment, we had a Creative CX competition to come up with a bit more of a catchy name. And actually, Tom won. Tom's over there. Say hi, Tom. So Tom won with a catchy name for this. And it was forcing insights and learnings to hypothesis. So once you've got your hypothesis, then going out and forcing the learnings and insights into it, which I thought was a really, really good one. And it just so happens to kind of spell something quite catchy as well. Well done, Tom. So what's the answer? How do we help teams improve their success rates of their solutions? We need to move away from this filthy practice. And we need to, team has an idea and a hypothesis and looks up and cherry picks the data. We need to move to a discovery-first approach, where actually we conduct regular discovery research throughout the whole user journeys with different groups of users, qualitative and data. And then we do ideation sessions off the back of that, always focusing on those problem statements. Everybody should be doing this way. So we do it this. So actually, on their own, it's fantastic to do all this research, but it's doing things the right way around is so important. So I thought I would show you an example, and this is one of my favorite actually, example from a discovery-first approach. And this is all down to the login step, which is a fairly boring step, isn't it? Which is maybe why it was ignored a bit. So no one thought there was an opportunity on the Travelodge login step at all. All the efforts are always, all the ideas of the clients are always the other areas, right? And to be honest, it's got prominent CTAs, it's got a clearish booking summary at the top. It's got a secure checkout padlock there. It's got guest checkout, best practice. And it's got a fairly low drop-off rate, really. There's no reason that in first light, unless you did discovery research, you might uncover anything. But what we did is we do opportunity audits at Accredited CX, do a lot of them, which is discovery research, but packaged up quant and qual. And we do this regularly. We encourage people to do this regularly with our clients. And typically on this occasion, this is the real data from Travelodge. We do the research, usability testing, we do analytics and behavioral analytics, and then we do client ideation sessions. So in just this one discovery project, we uncovered 101 problems and opportunities, which we could then prioritize and tackle. And because we've got a really rich lot of findings from research and analytics, it becomes easier to prioritize anyway, and we can really quickly identify which of these are the most important to go after. But we haven't come up with solutions yet, and that's the whole point. And then, actually, you'll notice that one of the important ones here was the login page. So something did come up. A few issues came up, actually. One high priority one and one medium priority one. So therefore, we decided to tackle that. But first, I'll show you the clip. Just one example. We saw this in several users. But this was the real surprise for us. So this was actually participant 7. And this is when he got to the login step.
Ah, right. Right, you do, right. So you have to log in or check in as, well, I don't have an account. You don't have an account to stay with us. It's easier to set one up later. Right, what does that mean then? Log in, check out as a guest. Well, if I don't have an account, how do I log in? And I can't check out as a guest yet. Right, okay, so you have to make an account. Oh, you know what, that'd be a pain in the ass for me. I'm sorry, I can't be doing with that.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? What's going on there? And it was like, and like all usability testing research, because it's moderated, we keep it really open and we see what happens. And then the moderator is there to carefully probe a bit and to follow on tasks and to uncover the why, what is going on here. And here's the next clip.
I wouldn't log in. You know, in terms of checkout as a guest, just don't like. I think that what's unusual is the checkout. Why is it not check in?
Right. Okay. So
I want to check in as a guest, don't I? Not my checkout's at the end of your stay.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So it's really that way.
It's the checkout, isn't it? I mean, you know, this is the start of the process. I'm trying to check in.
You just can't predict what's going to happen, can you? And just imagine if we never did user research or all those brands out there didn't do usability testing regularly with their target audience. You'd miss out on so many of these things. So check out a guest. Turns out it's not really the best terminology for hotel sites, and probably... and yeah, actually, when you look on some of the best practice sites, even Baymard, which is amazing, they really promote checkout as a guest everywhere, and they even include it. They include it for all the e-commerce sites, but they also then go on to say, and it works on travel too. So you know, it's another alert to just don't blindly copy best practices. So we wouldn't have found this out without discovery first research. And therefore, and the A/B test that followed, we got a significant result by solving this problem. We tested it with several variations to find the best solution. And of course, we came up with a very simple solution, and it did really, really well for the company. But again, all down to the research that uncovered it. So if you have moonshot ambitions for experimentation, avoid this filthy practice of fake data-drivenness. And I wanted to leave you with some recommendations. This is more of a takeaway, but the first thing is conduct regular discovery research and analytics projects throughout the year. This isn't just a one-off, continually do it. Get your teams to do this. Make sure you put enough resources and time aside to schedule this in regularly. Second one is follow up with problem-focused ideation workshops. So this was one of ours where we get all different teams solving the problems. This isn't just going into a room and coming up with amazing ideas from thin air, right? This is focused on problems. So whenever we conduct this research, we spend a decent amount of time going over these clips, showing the actual evidence first, getting everybody aligned to the problem they're trying to solve. Third one is actually make sure Your prioritization framework gives higher scores to data-driven ideas. So remember, it's not just supported by data or when people, the filthy practice of coming up with data afterwards. And then lastly is just track where your ideas come from, everything that you do. So just track, and over time, you will discover that the ones which are based on discovery-first research have higher win rates. And in the end, and the great thing is about A/B testing, that then gives you justification and ROI for going back and investing more in discovery research. So thank you very much.